We're back with another exciting episode of Rick's Horror Movie Review Show. Rick's Rated R Horror Movie Review Show, where we review, of course you know this by now, horror movies. What kind of horror movies do we like around here? I think we like demons. That's right, we love demons. And zombies. We love zombies. And more demons. Yeah, more demons is good. Catholic Church, demons, everything. Welcome to tonight's episode. Tonight's episode is sponsored. No, there's no sponsor tonight. No sponsor tonight. Oh, interesting. Huh. Tonight's episode is the good one. They're all good. What are you talking about? That's right, they're all good. But tonight's episode is a special one. They're all special. Each and every one. I love them all the same. They're all my children. And I love them equally. Now that there's a load of bow, you don't love all your children equally. You got a favorite. Don't you dare lie to the audience this small. Tonight's episode is Talk to Me. Talk to Me. Talk to Me. Australian film. Beautiful film. You know the format. We're going to talk about the things I liked, things I didn't like. We'll do plot review and commentary, and we don't do analysis because we're not experts, although maybe we are. I don't know. We do this shit because we love it. And as always, kids, don't forget, this is a spoiler-full review. Let's get into it. Things I liked. Great fucking makeup. I mean, just tremendous. There's a lot of use of practical effects here. I don't know that I've seen makeup as good as this one in a while. I mean, it's just actually. Why didn't you just say that Exorcist makeup was really good too? Yeah, it was. That one was good too. But yeah, great makeup, really scary makeup on the actors that were portraying the scary characters. Great acting. Speaking of actors, great acting. I also don't know any of these actors, and you know this as well. I talked about this in other episodes. I love when I don't know the actors. To me, I can get in. I can really get lost in the action of what's happening in the story and and experience it from their perspective. When it's a known actor, it's a little harder for me. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't special occasions or the special circumstances when I do love a known actor, especially a film that we're going to talk about at some point because it's coming up. It's a special one. It's got the Catholic Church. It's got demons. It's got demonic possession. It's a good episode. And let me tell you what, it's got some known actors. But yeah, great acting. Great acting by everybody. And great concept too. Great concept for the story. It's a new take on everything is everything that is old is new. But I love the story, and it's a great concept, and more importantly, not just that it was a great story, it wasn't wasted, it was perfectly executed. I loved it. Things I didn't like. Well, this is one of those movies where, there isn't any. There aren't any things I didn't like. And I'm not that kind of person that just likes to add things to a list just because I have a list. Well, there are no things to add to the list of things that I don't like. Kind of like when you grocery shopping. A grocery shopping list. Do I need this? Yes. Do I need this? No. I don't need to have it. There's no bad things about this film. I can't say any. Now, there may be some things that kind of tickled my bone, and if I remember them along the lines of, as we get into the story, then maybe we'll talk about it. But no, nothing that is blatantly obvious that I got to put it down on the list. Nothing that bothered me too much. Let's get into the story. The story begins. Now, if you don't know what this movie is about, this movie is about... well, let's get into it. The story begins with an opening shot of some teenagers at a party, and some shit's happening, and teenager party, and it's just like drinking and just boozing it up, and like the music's really loud. It's a really cool party. Oh my god, Duckett is here, and Cole. Oh god, do they even notice me? And we see this boy named Cole, and he's looking for his brother, Duckett. We don't know who's who at this point. Who's who? This is the who's who of who. And anyway, we see somebody banging on the door who turns out to be Cole. And he's looking for his brother, Duckett. Great names, but Duckett. They're Australian. Cole and Duckett. So Duckett is in the room. And he's like freaking out. You could, assume that potentially, he's been boozing up a little too much, huh? You drank a little too many beers there. That's why you got to slow down. I told you not to mix that beer with the alcohol. But you don't listen, Duckett, do you? So, you could assume that he was either drinking or doing a little bit of, you've been smoking a little bit of weed or something, Anyway, he opens the door. Actually, he forces the door open. He breaks down the damn door, and Duckett's in the room, and he's like, bent over. There's like a scar on his back, and it's just like, he's disheveled. Doesn't look good. Anyway, a shot or two later, they're like, presumably getting ready to leave. Actually, it might have been the immediate shot after that. They're getting ready to leave, and then all of a sudden, BAM! With a knife. With a gun. You charge with a knife, you run away. Duckett, out of nowhere, pulls out a knife. You call that a knife? No, that's a knife. And just stabs his brother Cole right in the chest for no reason. He don't know why. It's just, whoa. And that's how the movie opens. And then, to make things worse, he takes that knife. I'm going to take this knife right here. And just jams that some bitch right in his eye. And just stabs himself. And what did we just see? And that's how the movie opens. And then we move on to the next scene where we see a couple of younger kids who turn out to be a friend and a family member of the main character, Jade. It's Jade. It's Jade because they're Australian. Jade. Anyway, they're on the sidewalk because Jade forgot to pick them up. And I'm talking about her brother Riley and Riley's friend, whose name I do not know. And they're waiting on the sidewalk because Jade forgot them. And then Mia pulls up in the car. Mia's another main character. And she's talking to them, and she's like, hey, I think it's raining. It's going to rain. Y'all boys better get in here. It's going to start to rain soon. And the boys are like, nah, we're good. We're going to smoke some cigs. That's why we out here. It's all right. Everybody's doing it. All the coke had smoked the cigs. We're good. And they're just on the sidewalk and whatever. The point is she grabs the kid and starts driving home. And along that drive, they come up on this dead kangaroo. Or, presumably dead. It looked dead initially. But you know what they do? They break the first fucking rule of horror movies. Which is, ladies and gentlemen, never stop your car. Ever. Rule number 1 of horror movies. Don't be dumb. Rule number 2. Don't fucking stop your car. Well, I reckon they stopped their car. Now, what in the name of Jesus did they stop their car for? Well, there's a kangaroo in the middle of it. Where the hell are we anyway? Well, we're in Australia, so there's bound to be kangaroos. Now, can you eat that? I don't know. Sure as hell, I know you can eat them kangaroo meat. Kangaroo meat probably delicious. I don't really want to talk about that. Well, all right. So they stop. And, this kangaroo is unfortunately struggling. And I think they intend on maybe putting it out of its misery. But they can't. They can't do it. They just can't. And unfortunately, they can't come to do it. Anyway, next scene is Mia, Jade, and Riley, and a couple of other people at Jade's house. And they're planning, or rather, they're looking at this YouTube video. And the YouTube video is this, like this weird shit happening where like little fucking teenagers are holding a hand or some shit and some weird shit's happening. But of course, it's YouTube. There's no way this is real. It's totally CGI. They're Australian, so it's CGI. That's not why that's real. That's CGI. But anyway, they're intrigued enough to the point where, they decide to go see Haley, who is the person who has this mysterious hand. But to do that, they gotta lie to Jade's mom about where they're going. And anyway, they all sneak out and they go to this party, right? And I forgot to mention this earlier. Mia, who picked up Riley earlier, she is unfortunately mourning the loss of her mother. Her Her mother died 2 years ago. At this point of the story, we don't know why. But she's been dead for 2 years. And it was her anniversary. So, she hasn't been feeling well. And as you can imagine, somebody passes away, especially for somebody as young as me. I think she's a teenager. She's in high school, 17, 18 years old. Anyway, they get to this party, and Haley's there. And, other people are there, and it's a party. And Mia's feeling out of place. And you can see that. They do shots of her being like, oh, my God, I don't know anybody here. Oh, they're Australian. Oh, my God. Rocky, I don't know anyone here. And then, the good stuff starts to happen. Haley pulls out the magic hand that they saw on the YouTubes. And they start asking about who's going to go first. Hey, who's going to go first on this thing? Well, first and foremost, how the hell this thing work? Somebody explain to us how exactly this damn contraption works. Ladies and gentlemen, here to explain to us how this magic hand works, Mr. Frank Sinatra. Thank you. Hit it, boys. And the one, and the two, and the one. What you gotta do is you gotta hold on to the hand, and then you tell it, talk to me. And then a demon appears in front of your eyes. And then after you say that, then you gotta tell it, I let you in. But be careful when you let that demon in. He might not want to leave. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Frank Sinatra explained to us how the demon game works. So if you grab the hand, you're allowing yourself to potentially be possessed by some fucking entity that we don't know about. And sure enough, they start asking who's going to go first, and guess who volunteers? Mia. She feels depressed. She doesn't have anybody there. Jay's with her boyfriend. Riley's there, but actually, boyfriend's not there. Riley's there. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry, I made a mistake. And anyway, point is that she's the first one to volunteers, and she gets strapped into this shit. And now she's gotta hold on to that hand. I gotta grab the hand, take the hand. So she grabs the hand with her left, take the hand. Now don't put your hand on top of it. You gotta take it, don't shake it, just take it. So she takes the hand, and she says, now you gotta say, talk to me. And she says, talk to me. Oh, the mother of motherfucker. And she sees a demon. Or somebody, actually not a demon, I'm so sorry, a dead person. Woo, and it's such a great scene, but she fucking sees this demon. I keep saying demon. I love demons. And she sees this dead person out of nowhere. Great fucking makeup. New scary shit. Good music and everything. Nobody else sees it. And Mia starts freaking out like, holy mother of Jesus Christ. What did I just done see right now? Holy shit. And everybody's like laughing and, having a good time because, they kind of like, oh my God. They've seen this shit before. They're all part of it. But she's the only one who isn't part of it, right? Anyway, they tell her that the next thing to do is, of course, you have to let the demon in. So you have to tell it, I'll let you in. I'll let you in. Maya, you got to take the hand. You got to tell it, talk to me. And then you got to say, I'll let you in. Now, what in the Jesus did you just say to me? I'll let you in. I'll let you in. You mean I'll let you in? I'll let you in. That's right. I let you in. So you got to tell it I let you in. And once you tell it I let you in, then you allow yourself to be possessed. But the key here is you cannot allow yourself to be possessed for more than 90 seconds because if you do that, the demon might not want to leave. It might take over your body. And that's not good, right? So anyway, she allows herself to be possessed, but unfortunately, and by the way, this possession, as we know later, turns out to be a euphoric state of happiness for them. They love it. It's like, it gives them they get high. Wanna get high? They get high off of this shit. And so she's possessed by a spirit or an old person or something that died, essentially. And unfortunately, she has such a strong grip on that thing. He's like really gripping strongly on that. You gotta take that hand. You grab it. But you gotta make sure you give it a nice grip. Are you gonna shake somebody's hand? You gotta make sure you have a firm grip. You understand? Otherwise, person ain't gonna respect you. So you take that hand and you give it a firm grip. Firm grip that son bitch. And yeah, she's just holding on to it way too tight. And unfortunately, when they're finally able to, loosen up the grip or disconnect her or break the connection, the time limit had been exceeded by, I don't know, they don't really specify, but it was definitely more than 90 seconds, right? But she's just going crazy and it's amazing and she loved it. And then we move on to, the next night where they want to do this again. So this happened party at Haley's house or somebody else's house, but Haley is the person with the hand. And actually, that's not true. Before they go over to the house, Haley meets Jade in a high school parking lot. And Jade's like, oh my God, that party was awesome last night. Can we use your hand again? And Haley's like, whoa, what do you want my hand for? Jade's like, don't be dirty. That's not what I mean. You know what I mean? You know which hand I'm talking about. I'm talking about the mommy hand. The mommy hand. Not your hand. I mean, it's your hand because you own it, but I'm talking about that mummified hand. And Haley's like, uh-huh. Why? And then for some reason, just like, because I'm cool. Don't you want to hang out at my house because I'm a cool girl? And she says, I reckon. I didn't know Australians used I reckon. That's news to me. Did you know that? Well, I don't reckon. They don't use I reckon. How dog? Yeah, they used I reckon. So anyway, Haley agrees to go to Jade's house the next night, and they're planning this party. And there's this really funny scene where Jade and her mother are arguing about when the party's gonna happen. Like, Jade's mom is not a fucking dummy. Jade's planning a fucking party and her boyfriend shows up at the door and Jade's mom's like, what the fuck are you doing? What in the motherfucker are you doing in my house? And Daniel's like the super church boy and he's like, well, I'm just here to hang out with my girlfriend. Jade's mom's not having that shit. Anyway, he gets upstairs, Mia's there, and then the little brother, and the mother's it's a funny scene because the mother's like, asking everybody when the party is, and they're not making a fool out of her. She's going to be gone for the night, and that's when the party's happening. Anyway, party happened, and now they're all over, and it's Jade, it's Haley, it's Joss, who the other guy who I think is part owner of the hand. Can you be part owner of a possessed mummy hand? I think so. Anyway, he's there too, and they're all party's happening. Now everybody's starting to party. Party's going on. Everybody's holding that hand and getting possessed and dancing the night away. Everybody's boozing. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the Frank Sinatra. Everybody's boozing it up and holding on to that demon hand. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the Frank Sinatra. And so it gets to the point where the only one who hasn't used the demon hand is Riley, who happens to be Jade's younger brother. And the reason for that is he's just kind of young. He's a young kid. And, anytime this possession happens, you don't know who's going to get into the body. It could be a demon, an evil demon, like the one that Mia had was a nasty one. And Jade doesn't want it. Jade doesn't want this to happen. She's the older sister. He's like, my older sister Jade, she's such a party pooper. She never lets me do anything fun. And Jade's not having it, but for some reason she leaves the room. I think her and her boyfriend Daniel had some minor argument or some shit, but she leaves the room, and Riley appeals to Mia. Mia, let me do it, Mia. I thought you were on my side, girl. Mia, come on, Mia. And Mia's not having it. Mia's like, nah, you ain't gonna do that. Well, she's Australian, sorry. You ain't gonna do that. I know why. Not on my watch. Not on my watch, Riley. But she concedes. She's fuck it. Do it for 50 seconds. And then he gets strapped in. Riley does get strapped in. Jade's not there. And Mia's there. Haley's there. Joss is there. I don't think Daniel's there. I don't remember. Anyway, point is, he gets strapped, holds on to the hand, says, walk to me. Sees the ghost. Nobody else sees it. It's off camera. And then finally says, lock me in. You mean lock me in? Let me in. Sorry. And then Riley says, let me in. And the possession shit starts up, and then the water bubbling. For some reason, I mentioned this earlier. No, I didn't. That sounds like they're drowning or something when they're being possessed. Initially. And that's what happens. And he comes to after the almost drowning phase and immediately starts looking at Mia and utters the words, "Me, I'm sorry." "Oh, I'm sorry." It's Australian. Everybody's Australian. I keep forgetting that. "Me, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for what I did, and I would never leave you alone." Well, it turns out it's Mia's mother, Rhea. And it's talking directly to Mia. And Mia's shocked. And they had originally agreed to Riley only do it for 50 seconds. And Haley calls out the 50 seconds. Let's spend 50 seconds. Calls out the 50 seconds. And Mia's like, no, let it roll, baby. Let it roll. Because she's talking to her mother, presumably. And, she doesn't want that connection to sever. And unfortunately, they go way over the 90 seconds. They disregard the limit. And holy motherfucker. Now Riley be done possessed by a demon. Oh, Lord Jesus Christ Almighty, let go of this boy's body. The demon's not home. He's not leaving. He's staying. And it gets real graphic real fast. Like, this is a bad motherfucking demon. Woos. And immediately this demon's like banging his head on shit. Again, they're strapped into a chair to prevent this kind of shit, but their hands are like, flailing everywhere. And falls over, starts knocking himself on the floor. And there's this scene where the dog's licking his face. And maybe I'm confusing scenes here, but the point is that the boy's had a demon or a spirit that is nasty. And he starts hurting himself, like real bad. Starts hitting his head everywhere. And just when he's about to take like the final blow that's either gonna kill him or knock him out, Jade walks into the room and prevents him from hitting his head on the cupboard. Thankfully, and obviously smashing her head on it. He smashes his hand on... Can't speak. You can't speak tonight there, can you, son? He winds up smashing his head on her hand, therefore her hand preventing, him from smashing his face. It's real graphic here. Like, the first time he hit his head on the side of a cupboard or a table, I don't remember what it was. He starts bleeding, and it's like nasty, and it's shocking because we'd seen before all this. It was just like this happy-go-lucky thing where everybody's just getting possessed, and it's like this cool teenager thing. It's like, oh my god, let's go get possessed. That's so cool. As opposed to getting drunk or high. Hey, do you want to get possessed? Oh my god, totally. I thought you'd never ask. But this is the first instance of we see somebody like really getting fucking crazy and doing harmful shit. Anyway, this kid's rushed to the hospital, and he's in bad shape. He's in real bad shape. And Mia, who is at this point, I think, having visions potentially. She's imagining either seeing her mother, or she really saw her mother through Riley. Riley did, in fact, get possessed by Rhea, Mia's mother. But she steals the hand, and there's scenes of her trying to contact her mother, and there's some scary shit happening there. She's grabbing the hand, and it's like, this is one of the crazy things because she's grabbing the hand and she's in her room, and she lights the candle. And by the way, I forgot to mention this earlier. You have to light a candle. You gotta light a candle to let them in, and now you gotta blow the candle to let them out. I don't think Mr. Frank Sinatra explained that earlier, but he's on a drink break right now. He can't explain that to us. Anyway, she's grabbing onto the hand, and she turns on the candle, and she's in her room, and she's trying to talk to her mom, and she says, "Talk to me." And she sees the vision, and it's her mom, and her mom looks in wretched shape, like completely disfigured. Again, they look like they've been drowned or something, but maybe that's just the decomposing body. The pupils look super white. Imagine a decomposed body. That's what the makeup does. It looks like, and it's phenomenal. Where was I? Yes. So she's talking to her mother, but at this point, she doesn't say, "I'll let you in." I don't think there's a need to, because when you do that, you don't go anywhere in particular. You don't remember what happens to you. That's why there's somebody there to break the connection for you. So she says, "Talk to me," and she sees her mother. But she doesn't say, "Let me in. Don't let them in." Anyway, this happens, and then Mia is having a hard time now. She's either seeing her mother or that demon. who possessed her earlier because he stayed a little too long, is still there potentially. I don't know. It could be there. You're only supposed to have that demon for 90 seconds. Anyway, do you remember Cole at the beginning of the movie? Cole and Cal and Duckett. I don't know if Duckett died, but Cole's alive, and they track him down, asking him, "Hey, how do we get rid of this demon? It's inside Riley, and he won't leave." And Cole's not having it, because he's experienced all of this shit already. I think obviously his brother stabbed himself in the face. His brother must be dead at this point. Maybe they did say it. You just don't remember. Point here is he initially avoids them, but feels bad for Mia, because obviously her mother recently passed, and it's just telling him, "Hey, how do we get rid of this? Help us out." And eventually he concedes and tells Mia that eventually the body will expel the demon, and that's just it. Nothing. Or I'm sorry, expel the possessed spirit, or the evil spirit. You mean? Yeah, the evil spirit. Thank you. Anyway, they go back to the hospital, but for some reason Mia thinks that she can somehow save Riley, and so they go back to the hospital. They trick the mother into leaving the room, and Mia's holding on to the hand. So it's Riley. It's Riley in the hospital. Which, by the way, Riley's makeup at this point is phenomenally bad. It is horrific, and it is deliciously disgusting. It's lovely. Anyway, they're in there, and Mia's got the zombie hand, embalmed hand, and Riley's there, obviously. He's sort of medicated. I don't think he's conscious at this point. Mia's there, Jade is there, and they try to contact. And so Mia grabs the hand again and says, "Talk to me." And then there's the apparition of a little girl. And by the way, this is all trying to save Riley somehow, some way. I don't know how, but that's what she's trying to do. I think she's trying to get Riley to possess her body, essentially. I think that's the goal. She grabs the hands, he says, "Talk to me," and a little girl shows up. And the little girl tells Mia that she can tell her where Riley is being held. And but the confusing part to me here is that the little girl is the one that says, "I let you in, or let you in, or let you in." And the little girl's the one that utters those words. And then Mia has visions of Riley being tortured. And presumably, he's either in hell or the seventh circle of hell, which happens to be limbo. Boy, you know your Bible real well, don't you? No, I just made that up. I don't know if it's the sixth or the seventh. That's Dante's Inferno. Dante what now? Dante's Inferno. Ain't no Dante's Inferno here. We talking about the Lord Jesus Christ Almighty. He saved you. He died for you. I don't know what you're talking about. Anyway, I think he might be in limbo. So it doesn't work. So she gets pulled out, and it's just not working. But now at this point, Mia is just really having some crazy hallucinations. So that didn't work, and now we see a scene of Mia going back home. And obviously, Riley's still in the hospital. We have to talk about the scene in the hospital, because when Riley comes to, by the way, there's the scene where he's getting showered right around this point. And he comes to consciousness, and immediately, by the way, this is beautiful, starts banging his head against the back wall of the shower, and he's laughing maniacally, and it is just such a beautifully well-placed scene, and the kid is acting tremendously well, and the makeup, it's doing its thing, and the water's running all over the place, and he's banging his head on the back of the shower. Ah! And then all of a sudden starts licking his own blood off the shower floor, and just and it is just beautiful, and it's delicious, and it's horrific. Really funny scene in a good way. Anyway, Mia is back home, and she's still struggling when she meets her dad, and her dad is finally Max. Her dad's like, "Well, I got something to tell you, Mary. I've got something to say to you, mate," and it has a letter from her mother. So long story short, it turns out that the mother actually left a suicide note. Mia doesn't want to believe it. And, she starts doing her thing with the hand again. But at this point, she's actually not even using the hand anymore. "I'm so sorry. Mistake. You done there a mistake there." She's just hallucinating at this point. She's hallucinating seeing her mother, and her mother's telling her that Max needs to die for some reason. And obviously this isn't her mother anymore. And she hallucinates her own father, Max, coming into her room. And this is like a disfigured... I don't know what this looks like. Almost like cordyceps if you watch The Last of Us. Shout out to The Last of Us. Looks like he has cordyceps on his face and he's choking Mia out. But of course, it's not really happening. She's just hallucinating all this shit. And when her dad, Max, the real person, comes into the room, Mia, who happens to have a pair of yellow scissors conveniently nearby, while she struggles with this vision, immediately grabs him and stabs her real father right in the neck. Bang! Like that! You devil! I'll kill you before you kill me, Damon! And just stabs him right in the neck. And presumably, we don't presume anything. We don't know what happened to him at this point. She's back on her way now. Now Mia's just like super gone at this point. She's just hallucinating shit all over the fucking place. That hand she held on to that long. Now that dumb girl there, she held out to that hand way too long, and she's possessed now. They don't tell her. Hey, don't you dare, Mr. Frank Sinatra, don't tell you. Don't you dare hold on to that hand longer than 90 seconds, but she had that tight grip. Like I told her, she had that good grip on that sumbitch. But because she has such a tight grip on that sumbitch, now she got a demon in her. And that demon is like wrecking all over her brain and wrecking all over her body. That's real bad for her. But I told her to have a strong grip, and she shouldn't have listened. I was wrong. I'm sorry, man. It's my fault. Wow. Thanks for admitting that. Anyway, she's super crazy now at this point. She's having hallucinations, and she's going back to the hospital now. And I think Rhea, her mother, who she continuously hallucinates, who might not be her, might be her. I think it's the original demon from the beginning of the movie, is telling her that the only way to save Riley is by killing him. Of course, Mia's like, right, the only way to save Riley is by killing him. Crikey, I should have thought of that earlier. So she rushes to the hospital and lies to her friend Jade, who is now on her way to Mia's house. And it kind of works out in the end because Max, Mia's father, is lying in the pool of his own blood after being stabbed in the neck by Mia. So she actually saves Max, but at the same time leaving Riley vulnerable to being kidnapped by Mia. And she does in fact do that. She grabs the wheelchair and is like, next scene we see is her wheeling Riley down under a freeway underpass, and she continues to hallucinate. And it's like, Maya, you gotta take him out of his misery. You gotta help him, Riley. If you don't help him, then demons are gonna take him. Oh, you gotta help him. You gotta wheel him down there, and you gotta have a car hit him. A car, a truck, a semi. Kangaroo won't do the job, so it's gotta be something mechanical. But a car should do it. And in the meantime, she continues to hallucinate, and she's holding on to Riley, and Jade's back from being pulled away by Mia, obviously as a pretense so that she could kidnap her brother. Everybody's back, and I think at this point, Mia, just when she's about to commit the deed, dirty deeds, done the cheap. It's, by the way, also Australian. She realizes that she's being fucked with a demon. A demon has, or rather that evil spirit from the beginning is fucking with her brain. It wasn't actually her mom telling her to kidnap her, to kidnap Riley and kill him. It's the only way to saving him. But anyways, what she does is instead of rolling Riley into oncoming traffic, she's the one that winds up getting hit by a car. And it's a beautiful scene. Well done. All practical stuff. Again, great effects. All of this, the cinematography is great in all of this. I should have mentioned that earlier, but well shot. And we see a shot actually from the inside of the vehicle that struck her. That we see something hit the windshield and crack that windshield, and we see airbags, trigger, and the driver. It's just a great, really well shot. And then we see an overhead shot of Mia lying in the old position that any dead body in the history of dead bodies has ever been lying. When they chalkboard out the dead body on the street, she's lying like that. And it's an overhead shot, and it's held a couple seconds, and then we get a close-up of Mia, and she's got a mad scar on her face. Boy, do you just say mad? I was going to say magical, but my brain then said mad. So she has a huge scar on her face. And we don't know at this point if she looks alive. She survived the car accident. So she starts walking back to the hospital. We don't know where Riley is at this point. He's not in the frame. And now we see her in the hospital, and she's looking, and she looks towards the room, and she sees Riley, who now looks completely healed, or at the very least somewhat healed. We see his family there. And then she turns around, and she sees her father, Max, also healed. Gone are the cordyceps on his face. That was a hallucination. I don't see any stab wounds on his neck, and he gets into an elevator and he fades away, and eventually Mia is left in a dark corridor. But why? We don't know. And she continues to wander this corridor, looking, asking, calling out for Jade, for Riley. And then eventually you hear a match being struck. And you see a light, candle light, in the far distance. And Mia walks towards it. And then we see her extend her hand. And then there's the scene of a Greek party talking to demons the same way that she was talking to demons. And they say to her, "Talk to me. Let me in." Woo! She's dead. And it went full circle. At the beginning of the movie, she is the one, calling the spirits, asking them to be, to possess her, telling them, "Talk to me," and eventually let me in. And at the end of the movie, we see the same style party with the same style hand. We don't know if it's the same one, but she's now on the opposite end of the hand. She is the one that's holding on to, or rather, she is the mummified, embalmed hand, and the folks in Greek, or the Greek folks, are the ones who are, engaging in the demonic possession, and she is the one who is now possessing the body. And the movie ends, and what an absolute joyride of a movie. What a great story. Well executed, well acted, really great, really great everything, really. Not much else to say. I loved it. I don't think I've seen anything like this before in this way. I really like the fact that, again, I didn't know any of the characters. It took place in another country, which is really interesting to see. Well, what do you mean? You don't think that demons only possess America? Wow, well, you really twisted view of yourself there. That's not what I meant. I mean, we talked about a movie in Mexico the other day. Well, Mexico's practically down the street. It's practically America. Well, actually, it is America. The whole continent is America, not just the U.S. Boy, you... Anyway, rating. I'm going to give this movie an 8 out of 10. I loved it. But it didn't have the Catholic Church. And I can't have I got to have my Catholic Church. Boy, you really love that Catholic Church. Now, you some kind of church boy. Were you a choir boy or something? No, I just really think they do. They really well built for scary movies. But hey, an 8 out of 10 for a movie that has a really low budget film. Nothing against it. The budget's a budget, but really innovative. An 8 out of 10 is a great score. I think that you really have to reserve 9s and 10s for something that is really, really, really outstanding. Like I thought The Exorcist was outstanding. But yeah, that's it. 8 out of 10 for Talk to Me. And I really loved it. And if you haven't seen this movie, I found this movie on... where did I get this? Oh, Amazon Prime. I got this movie on Amazon Prime. I rented it. $5. And yeah, that's it. Thank you for joining us on yet another exciting episode full of demons. Actually, there was no demons. This one was about spirits. Evil spirits. Boy, you keep saying demons. It's evil spirits. You in love with them demons or something. Boy, you're funny. That's it. If you're still here, thank you so much for listening to another episode of this Rick's Horror Movie Review Show. Rick's Rated R Horror Movie Review Show. We really appreciate you listening. And until next time, see you soon.